This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. I'm Abriana Herron. The corporate entity behind The Mill in Bloomington is rebranding with the goal of creating a broader support system for startups, as well as business attraction and economic development efforts. Amplify Bloomington launched Wednesday. The initiative is led by former Bloomington Mayor John Fernandez. He says Amplify Bloomington will build on the Mill's entrepreneur-centric focus.
But we're also elevating the work to make it more place-based in terms of how we go to market, signaling that there's a lot of opportunity for talent to grow companies, to work here, to build a meaningful life here.
Amplify Bloomington is being supported by Indiana University, Cook Group, the City of Bloomington, and a coalition of corporate partners. We'll have more on the launch of Amplify Bloomington on this week's TV edition of Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. Lee Hamilton, who represented Indiana's 9th Congressional District from 1965 to 1999 and served as vice chairman of the 9/11 Commission, died Tuesday. He was 94. Indiana Governor Mike Braun on Wednesday ordered flags at all state facilities to be lowered to half staff until the day of Hamilton's burial. Details regarding Hamilton's death and plans for memorial services were not immediately made public. Maryville-based Northern Indiana Public Service Company, or NIPSCO, has received a key approval that paves the way for a $5.7 billion expansion of its R.M. Schaefer generating station in Wheatfield. Our partners at the Times of Northwest Indiana report the Jasper County Commissioners this week unanimously approved a rezoning request for the project. The utility plans to build a 2,600 megawatt combined cycle natural gas plant, a gas peaker plant, and a data center on the hundreds of acres of land that were approved for rezoning. Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand is made possible by the following.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media podcast network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
When Sheer Brown shared photos of her homemade challah bread on social media during the summer of 2020, she wasn't trying to start a business. Brown had recently moved to South Bend from Israel and was baking traditional Jewish pastries she couldn't find locally during the pandemic. Within days, a person reached out asking where he could buy the bread. Brown says she quickly put together a menu on her phone and made her first sale the next day.
And in 2 weeks, I was baking full time. I was baking and having pickups every day, Monday to Friday.
Now, with about 95% of her customers coming from outside the Jewish community, Brown says she's been grateful for the support and enthusiasm she's received across South Bend. Brown says the future of her business is still taking shape. She hopes to add more local cafe, restaurant, and grocery accounts this year, and eventually hire an employee to help manage the workload. Eli Lilly and Company reported fourth quarter results Wednesday that topped Wall Street expectations. The Indianapolis-based drug manufacturer reported revenue of $19.3 billion, which is up 43% from the same quarter a year ago, likely driven by growth in sales of weight loss and diabetes medication Zepbound and Mounjaro. The drug maker reported profit of $6.6 billion for the fourth quarter, up from $4.4 billion in the same period a year earlier. Together, the two GLP-1 drugs accounted for roughly 60% of revenue in the fourth quarter. Shares of Lilly were also up nearly 9% in pre-market trading Wednesday. After 5 years of planning, Subaru of Indiana Automotive is now producing its first hybrid vehicle in Indiana. The first 2026 Forester Hybrid Premium came off the assembly line at the Lafayette plant around noon Monday. The Forester is the first hybrid vehicle to be produced by Subaru in the U.S. Subaru of Indiana Automotive President and Chief Operating Officer Scott Brand says this is a significant milestone,
because it positions us to be able to participate in the hybrid electric vehicle market with products coming out of this factory. And it's really important to our associates that our products are aligned with what customers want.
The nearly 6 million square foot facility in Lafayette is Subaru's only plant outside of Japan and employs more than 6,500 workers. I'm Abriana Herron for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.